Well, hello, friends, and welcome. Pro-life leader Frank Pavone here, and I'm bringing you my daily diary segment. What did I do from Thursday, the 26th of June, through Sunday, the 29th of June, 2025? Well, on Thursday, the 26th, I left at about 4:30 a.m. to go to the airport and catch an early flight from Orlando Airport to Washington, D.C. On the way and at the terminal and in the plane, I did various work on my laptop. I had to deal with emails relating to the following things, and some of this I did once I arrived in D.C., as I'll explain. So, technical updates with my staff, defending life, television series and website, iPhone updates, discussing with our technical staff, iPhone updates for the team, some communications with our youth outreach and social street activism director, Brian Kemper, social media development, the Bible and abortion brochure and website, Florida March for Life plans, actually called the March for the Preborn, the conference that I was on my way to, the Ralph Reed Road to Majority Conference, some communication about that. Co-sponsors for the National Prayer Service in January, calls and data for Rachel's Vineyard, decisions coming out of the Supreme Court in these days, media contacts, approval of email blasts, travel plans, and planning for the pastoral team meeting, the next one we're going to have. So I got to Washington, D.C. I went right away to our office, which is located right behind the Supreme Court. And once I dropped off my things there, I walked across the street to the Supreme Court, went to the front where I met up with Brian Kemper, who has been for about 10 days with a group of young people that Priests for Life helps to train for pro-life activism, along with a group called Survivors. And there we were in front of the Supreme Court. And no sooner did I arrive then the news came out that we had won another Supreme Court case regarding abortion. That's the Medina case out of South Carolina, defending the right of the state to take money away, divert money away from Planned Parenthood and other abortion businesses. So right away, we were all celebratory and cheering, and we broke into a time of prayer, and I gave some remarks at the podium and a prayer that you can also see online here, and spent a little bit of time at the court there talking with the young people, talking with some of the other leaders who were there. Then I walked back across the street to our Washington, D.C. office, where I had a lot of work to get done, communicating with our Florida office and working on plans for the month of July and plans for the upcoming events that we are part of. So I worked there in the office for a few hours, and it was very fruitful. I talked to some donors on the phone, etc. Then, at a certain point after lunch, I walked outside and got an Uber over to one of the congressional buildings where I was scheduled then to connect with the conference called Road to Majority, organized by Ralph Reed and Faith and Freedom Coalition. We're an integral part of that conference. I always speak there, and I met up with the people in the Cannon Building caucus room, where we had hundreds of political activists there, all pro-life, many of whom I know, and we listened to many speeches from members of Congress. Of course, the big topic was the big, beautiful bill being hammered out and getting ready for passage. So we interacted with a lot of the top government officials, and with a lot of the other leaders who were there. That went on for several hours. So I was there in the caucus room until the late afternoon, at which point then I began to head back to go to the hotel, well, back to my office actually. Did a little bit more work at my office behind the Supreme Court, again connecting with other members of the team, and then headed over by Uber to the hotel, the Washington Hilton, where the conference was centered for the next couple of days. Checked into the hotel, connected with various leaders, networked with many, many people from all over the country who were very happy to see me there. and spend some time catching up with a lot of these folks, including some of the key political leaders of our country. So then I went to bed, and then Friday, the 27th, full speed into the conference being held right there at the Washington Hilton. Had an early breakfast. And let's see, I'm making sure I don't skip anything here. Had an early breakfast and then began right away networking with the people who were arriving, going through the exhibit area, going through the media area, talking with various leaders and some of the other speakers, and just having a great time listening to some of the talks as well. So Tom Homan, for example, was one of the speakers, and of course wanted to listen to him talking about the border security and ICE and so forth. Back and forth a little bit, then to my computer and some of the break sessions going back. I had to deal with things like the approval of appeals. Some of this I just did on my phone while milling around at the conference. Approval of appeals, approval of the broadcast schedule, the Bible and abortion page, flip books, that is the digitizing of our products, some conversation with one of my staff about the Uber app, preparation of pro-life leaders meetings, the scripture broadcast, preparation for that, working up some explanations of Project 60, our election effort to get 60 votes in the Senate, approving dates of trips, plans for administrative meetings, helping out a pro-lifer, Mark Crosby. You may have seen his story. He was violently attacked by a pro-abort. The trial of his attacker, again, was taking place. We sent out statements of support for him. Working with my staff in terms of some new approaches to action emails. Some work with another pro-life leader about more education about abortion, chemical drugs and pills. A documentary. I spent some time Friday morning speaking with Vincent Fusca. Now, if you watch the video, and the anniversary is coming up, July 13th, of the assassination attempt on President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, you'll see a man in a beard, hat, standing right there in the bleachers behind where President Trump was. Very recognizable figure, and he and I know each other, and we were talking about, for some time on Friday, a documentary that he is making commemorating the one-year anniversary of that event. So I spoke on the phone with his videographer. We got my video team on the phone to speak with him, and we're planning some ways that we can help him get this one-year anniversary of Butler, Pennsylvania video up and running. Also, some communication with one of our friends, Students for Life, and who I was with in Florida recently, and also preparation for an event regarding the Supreme Court in October when it's going to begin its new term. We are going to have a prayer event there in D.C. with some other groups. The conference continued, and after lunch, I was part of, well, first of all, I had a couple of phone calls with some of my administrative staff and team and our finance director and others. So I was on the phone during the lunchtime right up until a session that I had starting at 2 o'clock. So this was one of the workshop sessions. I was asked to do the opening prayer, and we were there together with people like Father Calvin Robinson and Mark Robinson, who was Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, and various other people. So I greeted all of them, greeted all the people coming to the workshop, said the opening prayer, listened to the rest of the workshop, and it was really great. And then, of course, networked with people after it was complete. Once that conference ended, that workshop ended, I should say, the conference continued. And again, I was networking out in the exhibit area, in the hallways, just meeting up with all kinds of people. And then, let's see, we had, in the evening, the gala reception. So we had a reception, went to my room and just caught up on a couple of quick things, got a couple of things I needed, and then we had the reception. Patriots Gala, as it's called, and the gala itself. Again, networking with all kinds of people who were there. That concluded the evening Friday night. Saturday the 28th, the conference continued for the first half of the day. And so what I did was, after early breakfast and some work on my laptop, let's see, I had to deal with some emails regarding an administrative planning meeting, the Big Beautiful Bill, the e-blast approval, travel plans, work on the Travelog, which is one of our newsletters. After doing all that, went down and just continued networking with people, and I listened to some of the talks in the main session. One of the speakers, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, gave me a shout out in the midst of his talk. He saw me sitting there in the front row, and listened to some really great talks. After that, it was just a couple of hours of networking. The main conference wound down. There was a candidate for school board in Virginia that wanted to have a quick lunch with me, and so we stepped out to have some lunch there in the same hotel. And once we finished with lunch, I went into the lobby area, and as some of the key leaders and speakers and other pro-life activists were getting ready to leave, it was a great place to be able to greet them all. People like Eric Metaxas and various other leaders, state leaders of various types. So I was there in the lobby just greeting everybody and talking with everybody. It was a great, great time for a couple of hours until my car came to pick me up to bring me back to the airport. And I flew back from Washington, D.C. up to New York, because then I was scheduled to visit with my mom for a few days and celebrate the July 4th holiday at home, as I usually do. So what I did was I caught that plane in the late afternoon, early evening, arrived at Westchester County Airport, got a rental car, came home, and did a little bit of work. That's where I am now, by the way, at my mom's home. Did a little bit of work before going to bed. And then Sunday morning, the 29th, the first day of full day of my family visit, went to Mass at my home parish. My home parish has been combined, 4 different parishes combined. So I went to Mass at 7:30 in the morning, greeted some people there, who, of course, who knew me. Came back home, did a little bit of work on my laptop, some preparation of some articles and plans for people co-sponsoring our big prayer service in January, and trip plans. And then I went to see my mom at the assisted living facility and spent much of the day with her and my brother and catching up on things. We had a lot of things to catch up on, seeing how well she's doing with her physical therapy and other things. You'll see video that I made with her. And it was a good time, me sharing meals together and so forth. In the evening then, early evening, I did something that I always look forward to doing in the summertime when I'm up here in my hometown area of Port Chester, New York, and that is going to Rye Playland. Now, I went myself just to have a relaxing couple of hours, and I went into the park and even went on some of the rides there that I've enjoyed from my youth, and just seeing people. It was a beautiful evening and a relaxing time there at Rye Playland, and walking there by the beach. Went to one of the beachside restaurants and got some clams on the half shell, which is one of my favorite foods. Then came back from there, came here to the house, and went to bed for the evening. So that's what I did from June 26th, so Thursday, through Sunday, June 29th, 2025. Thanks for following these daily diary updates. I hope your work is fruitful. Let's work together to end abortion. God bless you.